Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. Welcome back to another reverse 1999 video. Today's video we're going to talk a little bit about the tier list. A lot of you guys have told me a little bit about the tier list so-called drama that's going on around. Now obviously it's a little bit of an exaggeration. There's no drama going on around. Yes, Prit1 did revamp their tier list a couple of days ago. If you guys are not aware, Prit1 is one of the websites that features a lot of gacha games. They changed their tier list to a very different format. Now you can see there's a global version, there's a CN, there's an overall category. So they divided it into multiple different sections. Now, with tier list, usually you gotta take things with a grain of salt, right? Ideally, it makes a lot of sense. So there's this post on the official Reverse 1999 Reddit. As you can see, big revamp on the Prit1 tier list. Now, obviously, with tier list, there's going to be a lot of feedback, right? There's a lot of, I wouldn't say backlash, but you generally see a consensus of players questioning certain things, and I think that's good, right? It's always a good thing to try to question certain tier lists and be like, hey, how come this character is here? How come this character is there? And we all have different experiences of our own when we use our characters, right? Ideally, the characters or rosters that you have is not going to be the same with someone else, and your team is also going to be different. So that is going to make certain characters shine more than others. Now, as you can see, some of the feedback that they've gotten, I wouldn't place too much stock in his tier list. Prit1 is known to be bad with them. And a few months from now, Lilia will give you much more value than Eternity, for example. And then you can see the global NCN tier list is misleading because it's for the current events. Look at the top of the banner. You see which colors have type advantage. The CN event right now favors star and mineral, so A Knight drops a tier. So this guy is an A Knight abuser. So as you can see, Prit1's tier list, yeah, you can see here there is a specific content focus. For global 1.1 favors beast, plant and mineral type, whereas for CN 1.4 that's going to be star and mineral, right? So different patch apparently is going to have different afflatus bonuses, so it's something to always keep in mind. And some players might just miss this, alright, because it's not that obvious. And let's be honest, right, I'm a streamer, I stream a lot of times, and even sometimes when I include my game in the title, people are gonna ask, what game is this? A lot of people, they have reading comprehension, and I cannot deny that, alright. As someone that's been interacting with thousands of people before, I know this is going to be a thing that can be confusing for some and just generally missed by some people, right? I don't think Prit1 quite understands the logic behind CN's ratings yet before copying them over. 37, for example, is not seen as all that great without portrays, and Prit1 usually doesn't include dupes in limited ranking. It is way too prosperous to rate Soto B as B tier. As you can see, plenty of different opinions have resurfaced. Now, as a big Prit1 fan, we're gonna be looking at this tier list, and I do have one more tier list to compare with, which is the default tier list by the official Discord. So we're gonna try to do our own comparison and let you guys know of my opinion. With that being said, let's jump into it. Okay, first things first, let's look at the global 1.1 tier list. As you can see, Centurion currently is top tier, Eternity currently is top tier, and Melania currently is top tier. So I understand that how all these three characters are going to be the best one, right? And then for support, Lee, Cornblum, and Pickles coming later on is going to be very, very strong. Medicine Pocket is the best healer available because Medicine Pocket is a beast type, and remember, for version 1.1 global, it is favoring the beast type. Now, A Knight, Charlie, Druvis the third, Pavia, Lilia, Regulus, they're all going to be A tier, alright? And then Balloon Party, DK Tenon, I'm quite surprised these are also beast type. Wouldn't it makes a lot of sense for them to push it up? You are sort of rating DK in terms of as a healer. So if we look at overall, bam, now you see everything is going to be a little bit different, right? And I think I understand how this can be confusing for some people or for some players. So if anyone from Prit1 is watching this, maybe the default one should be overall, not at global 1.1. And then if anyone want to switch over or toggle over to global 1.1 or CN 1.4, then they can do so. But I think that by default, it makes sense to have a player just log into the overall section of tier list. When you come here, this is going to be the first toggle that you are at, right? So that way it's less confusing, because most people are just going to look at this and they're not even going to toggle. They're just going to scroll down and be like, oh, this character sucks, that character sucks. Oh, Sotobi is B tier? Oh my god, I pulled for her, time to reroll, right? So imagine Sotobi being same tier as La Source. La Source, 3-star? Damn, Sotobi sucks. I get it. A lot of people are just going to look at tier lists at face value. They are not going to question, they're not going to read or understand why is she placed here. They're not going to try to discuss with other people in the community. It's just generally that's how it is. Now, overall tier list, you can see, boom, Sotobi is now at A tier. Oh, she's no longer at B tier. Where's La Source? Now, La Source suddenly is at C tier. So in CN 1.4, you can see Sotobi is currently at B tier. Now, obviously, we all know what Sotobi does. If you guys watch the channel, Sotobi is going to be a healer, one of the main support for Changeling, this character right here, which is coming later on in version 1.2. As you can see, Changeling is A tier, right? But if we go to overall, Changeling becomes S tier. It's just for the CN content, it does favor the star and mineral afflators. So that's something to keep in mind. It is very confusing. For me, I would just look at overall and be like, okay, these are the characters that I can consider building, right? Because especially for this game, if you guys haven't watched my previous video, Insight 3 is very expensive, alright? To basically build characters in this game is just very, very expensive. If you are free to play especially, it's gonna take you weeks before you're able to achieve Insight 3 for a 6-star. It's something that I think players have to be careful with their resources, especially when you're referring to the tier list as follows. Obviously, Kornblum and Charlie, you will see this a lot. Kornblum and Charlie generally are very, very strong characters for 5 stars. Centurion, very, very known for her strength. Alright, Melania, Eternity, Regulus is here as well, alongside with A9, which I'm very, very happy for. If anyone pulled for A9, I do think that A9 is very, very strong. Like, he doesn't really have the benefit of the afflators bonuses most of the time because he's more of a spirit type. But then again, I think he's very, very viable option for DPS characters out there. Alright, now as you can see, Medicine Pocket and Balloon Party makes a lot of sense. They are both all in the same tier. And then if you scroll down a little bit, 37, Lilia, Black Dwarf, Druvis Tree. Now the S and the A tier seems to be interchangeable. As you can see, 37 here. If I were to scroll to 1.4, 37 is moved up 1 tier. Same goes with Black Dwarf and Charlie as well. I do think that Charlie is going to be much more portrait heavy or dupe heavy compared to a lot of other characters here. And then Voyager is suddenly all the way at a very high tier for current CN meta. But if you are just looking at a glance face value, ideally this is where you want to be looking at on the overall tier. Now do keep in mind that some of these characters might get better as time goes. For example, A9, if you guys are not aware, the reason why he was brought up all the way to S tier is because in version 1.4, there will be a very good side cube for A9 apparently, that sort of boosts his strength overall. It makes him really, really strong and a prominent character. So that could happen with some of these characters in the A tier for sure. Now, I think some characters are just harder to evaluate on their own. For example, like Sotobi, if you evaluate her as a healer on her own, she might not be that useful, which I do sort of agree, right, to a certain extent. But obviously in a team, if you are pairing her with Changeling, which can inflict poison because they are able to get the stacks for poison, you will be able to see Sotobi rise up in the ranks later on. Now let's look at one more tier list that I have. This is the CN community tier list. I actually do like this tier list a lot because there's also some discrepancy here for some characters that has different portraits. So you can see in this particular tier list, they are divided into 3 categories: story, early, and end. And then we're just going to be looking at end game pretty much. Alright, I'm just going to be focusing on this particular row. I think by now most players are already at mid to end game. Centurion, very, very strong. She can carry you in a lot of situations. I do agree with this. Centurion is definitely going to be the best reroll if you can get her. If you can't get her, she will have her own exclusive banner later on. Right, 2 Fairy is a very, very strong support. As you can see, tier 0, same applies for Changeling, a very strong carry, and these two will be able to carry you, especially Changeling is the character that needs Sotobi, right? Charlie, you can see if you have Portrait 3 onwards, Charlie is all the way here at tier 0 competing with all of these other DPS characters. Very, very interesting. I do have Charlie at Portrait 0 right now, you know, without any dupes. Seems a bit underwhelming, but I can see you gotta have the Portrait 3, that's going to boost the DPS a lot. Melania with Portrait 2 onwards is going to be able to be one of the strongest carry in the game, no doubt there of her capabilities. And Lee, however, doesn't need any Portrait, and I do like that. Same applies for Shamane, support and carry. So Cornblum, obviously very, very common. You would hear a lot of good things about her. Pickles, Black Dwarf, these are all characters, they are coming slightly later. Pickles is coming in 1.1. Black Dwarf is going to be 1.3 character. Apparently she's weaker early game, but she gets really, really strong in the late game. Same goes for 6 as well. 6 will be coming in the later. I can't believe 6 is a 6-star. Yes, this guy's name is 6. Very interesting, right? 6 and 37 is the latest character in CN server. As you can see, this is the tier 0.5 currently. With Regulus, Eternity seems to have fallen off a little bit end game, but she's still one of the better characters for sure. I do think that Eternity is a very good reroll target for a lot of players that are looking to start out the game. She will be able to carry you without any issues, right? Tier 1 is still really, really strong in a lot of situations, in a lot of cases. Same applies for A-Knight, same applies for Lilia. You can see all of these are at tier 1, and I do agree that Lilia is going to be tier 2 at early game, but at end game, once you get her to inside 3 onwards, once she starts to crit more consistently, that's when you are able to see consistent damage throughout. Now Kanjira, this is version 1.3 debuffer, which is going to come later. Medicine Pocket right here, Soneto is right here, Voyager is tier 1, Druvis 3 is here. Now you can see Melania pre-Portrait 2, apparently from this tier list, she's not as strong as Melania with Portrait 2. Now that is because her Portrait 2 will be able to give her additional 1 stack of Thief Master. That's going to increase her utility usage overall. It's just a very, very good stopping point to have. If you guys have Melania, do consider, alright, do consider. Right now her banner is still going on. Consider to get her up to, you know, at least Portrait 2, in this case 2 more additional dupes. But Charlie and Melania, you know, before Portrait 2 for Melania and before Portrait 3 for Charlie, they are slightly at the lower tier because they do significantly less damage, right? Pretty much. 37, this is also going to be one of the later characters, apparently at tier 1. Sotheby at tier 1 as well. Balloon Party, Necrologist, Horrorpedia, these are all very interesting characters. They will be coming later on, right? I'm not sure about Baby Blue and DK being all the way here at this tier though. Same with Matilda and X. I feel like they could be tier 1 or 1.5, somewhere in the higher tier of their own. But again, you know, there's plenty of things right here to read as well. So I will link you guys both tier lists so you guys can make the comparison, and ideally if you guys have more, feel free to share in the comment section below, because I think at the end of the day, with all of these tier lists, the game is still relatively new. Even in CN server, it's been around for a few months, but it's like less than 1 year old, so I would say plenty of things are still yet to be discovered, right? And then Miss New Babel is always at the bottom tier. Did they move up Miss New Babel? What happened? So even in the global tier, yep. So unfortunately, she's one of the weaker 6 stars right now. But I've heard that somewhere down the line, she's gonna slowly start to creep up and improve overall. So what's the takeaway with all of this tier list, right? As you can see, global 1.1, CN 1.4. I do think that if you are considering of building your characters, so this game is gonna require you to have multiple characters, especially the DPS. So try to diversify yourself, your rosters, in terms of plenty of characters, in terms of building multiple different characters that can help you out in the game, right? So you don't want to just build one type. Like for example, if you already have a few beast type characters, consider spreading it out, build some mineral type, some star type, some plant type, you know, 30% more damage, and when you have the advantage against the enemies of Aethers, is going to affect a lot of overall output that you can do, right, generally. So yeah, overall, let me know what you guys think of all of these tier lists. Do you guys agree regarding Pride1's tier list? Or do you guys find this confusing, right? Because like they are dividing it too much, and sometimes this can lead to confusion. Let's read the last comment right here. I will take Pride1's tier list with a grain of salt. It gives you a general idea of relative power between characters, but emo, that's it. Case in point, Jing Yuan. My Honkai Star Rail main got absolutely trashed and meme because he's the only Brightwin A tier limited DPS character. But my bro still 0 cycles Memory of Chaos, Limbo equivalent in a cheapo team of 4-star characters. On average, he also clears Memory of Chaos faster than some S-rank DPS units. For Reverse 1999, type advantage matters a whole lot more. You got a mineral DPS and she will trash up enemy best teams regardless of whether or not she's A or S tier. True! True, I agree. Alright, I think doesn't matter if it's A tier or S tier. If you have the advantage bonus, that's the way to do it in Reverse 1999. Alright, subscribe, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. All the links are in the description below. Have a nice day. Goodbye.